The jungle has a way of swallowing things whole. In the highlands of Panama, near the small town of Boquete, there is a trail known as El Pianista. To the casual hiker, it is a beautiful path through the cloud forest. But once you reach the summit, the continental divide, the trail changes. It stops being a path and becomes a labyrinth of mud, steep ravines, and rushing rivers. On April 1st, 2014, two Dutch students, Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon, set out for a quick hike on this trail with their dog. They were young, healthy, and full of life. They were expected back for dinner. They never returned. What followed was a search that gripped the world. But the real horror didn't start until their belongings were found. A backpack, a camera, and 2 cell phones. Within those devices was a digital diary of a descent into madness and a series of questions that, to this day, have no answers. Tonight, we are treading into the dark canopy of Panama to piece together the final days of Kris and Lisanne. Welcome to the portal, where myths, nightmares, and mysteries are just one step away. My name is Epoch, and I will be your guide. To preserve the light, we must first face the dark. The timeline, the last smiles. Kris and Lisanne arrived in Panama for a 6-week trip, a mix of vacation and volunteer work. On the morning of April 1st, the weather was clear. Thanks to the photos recovered from Lisanne's Canon camera, we know exactly how their day began. The early photos show 2 happy young women. They are smiling, posing at the summit of the mountain. They look victorious. But then, something happens. In the final, normal photos, we see them crossing a small stream, moving away from the safe trail and deeper into the serpent side of the mountain. Why they kept going is the first mystery. Did they get turned around, or were they following someone? By 4:39 p.m., the mood shifts from adventure to survival. On Kris's iPhone, the first call to 112, the Dutch emergency number, was placed. 12 minutes later, a call was placed from Lisanne's Samsung. Neither call went through. There was no signal. They were not even 5 hours into their hike, and they already knew they were in grave danger. They were alone. The sun was setting, and the jungle was waking up. If you have watched this far, remember to subscribe, like, and comment what would you like to see next. The digital ghost, the phone logs. The logs found on the girls' phones are the most haunting part of this case. They tell the story of 2 people fighting a battle against time and something else. On April 2nd, multiple attempts were made to call 911 and 112. None were successful. But as the days passed, the behavior of the phones became strange. The phones were being turned on and off, likely to save battery. But on April 5th, Kris's phone battery died. From that point on, someone began trying to access her phone, but they were entering the wrong PIN code. Between April 7th and April 10th, there were over 77 failed attempts to unlock the iPhone.
Ask yourself, if you are lost with your best friend, wouldn't you know her phone code? Or at least, wouldn't she be the one typing it? The failed PIN entries suggest that either Kris was incapacitated or someone else was holding the phone. Someone who didn't know the code, but was desperately trying to get in. And then there was the final check. On April 11th, the iPhone was turned on one last time. It stayed on for an hour, and then it went dark forever.
The night photos, 87 flashes. 10 weeks after they vanished, a local woman found a blue backpack in a rice paddy along the Culebra or Culebra River. Inside was the camera. When investigators opened the files, they found 87 photos taken in total darkness between the hours of 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. on April 8th. These images are the stuff of nightmares. Most of them show nothing but blackness, but others, illuminated by the camera's flash, show specific details. A rock with red plastic pieces, possibly from a candy wrapper, toilet paper on the ground, a view of a steep ravine, and, most disturbingly, a photo of the back of Kris's head, where blood appears to be matted in her hair. What was happening? Some believe they were using the flash as a light source or to signal a helicopter, but others notice a pattern. The photos seem to be documenting a location, a kill site, or a place where they were trapped. Even more bizarre, photo number 509 is missing. It was deleted from the memory card using a computer, not the camera itself. This is a crucial detail. If they were simply lost, who deleted that specific photo and why? The remains and the white bone. Following the discovery of the backpack, the search moved to the riverbanks. What they found was not a body, but fragments. A pelvic bone, a boot with a human foot still inside. A total of 33 bone fragments were found scattered along the river. The DNA confirmed they belonged to Kris and Lisanne, but the condition of the bones raised a new, terrifying question. Lisanne's bones still had bits of flesh attached to them. They looked like they had decomposed naturally in the jungle. But Kris's bones, specifically the pelvic bone, were stark white. They looked bleached. Experts were baffled. For a bone to turn that white that quickly in a damp, dark jungle, it would usually require a chemical agent like phosphorus or lime. The official report from the Panamanian government concluded that the girls fell into the river and were swept away, their bodies breaking apart on the rocks. But this does not explain the bleached bone, it does not explain the failed PIN codes, and it certainly does not explain the deleted photo. The jungle secret. Was it a tragic accident? Did two city girls simply underestimate the power of the cloud forest? Or were they being hunted? Local rumors persist about the cannibal trail and individuals in the area who knew the jungle too well. Some believe the girls were kidnapped, held for days, and that the night photos were a desperate attempt to document their captors or their surroundings before the end. We tread in the darkness of this case because it reminds us of how fragile we are. 2 lives reduced to 87 flashes in the dark and a collection of bones in a riverbed. Kris and Lisanne's story remains an open wound for their families. The jungle has kept its secret, and as the vines grow over the El Pianista trail, the truth remains buried deep beneath the canopy. Thank you for treading in the shadows with me. If you have a theory about what happened in the Panamanian jungle, let us know in the comments. Subscribe for more deep dives into the unexplained. Good night, and if you go hiking, never, ever leave the path.
Let us now step back into the portal and go to our segment of time and space. If you would like to see a longer video about what we went through today, or if you would like to see another specific video, leave it in the comments. Feel free to check any of our previous voyages on screen. My name was Epoch, and I will see you again on one side or the other. Farewell.